जीवनरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत् ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताय स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमाचार्य पादाय निताय कृपा गौरवतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Let's begin this wonderful chapter. This is from canto number 3 and chapter number 8. And this is about the cosmic manifestation, right? And the birth of Lord Brahma, right? We want to find out the origin of the universe, isn't it? Every inquisitive person wants to find out how this universe originated. So here is the most authentic description about how the universe was created. Ka esha yosa vahamabja prishta yetat kuto vabjamananyadapsu asti hyadastad iha kinchananait adishtanam yatra satanubhavyam. Lord Brahma in his ignorance contemplated, who am I? Who am I that I am situated on the top of this lotus? Wherefrom has this sprouted? There must be something downwards, and that from which this lotus has grown must be within the water. So we're thinking, hey, who am I? How did I come here? Huh? And he's speculating, right? You know, this is what the scientists try to do. It's like speculation. By speculation, we can never understand the absolute truth. The Vedic way of knowledge is top down, right? It's not bottom up. We cannot research and find out who is Krishna or what is the origin of the universe, or we cannot find out who am I or what is the source of my consciousness. That is not possible by speculative methods, right? Or by research. That's not possible. It's like top down. Krishna has to tell to Brahma, then only Brahma will know, right? Sa ittamudviksha tadabjanala nadi bhirantar jalama vivesha narvagatastat kharanala nala nabhim vichinvam stadavindajatajaha. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered into the water through the channel of the stem of the lotus. But in spite of entering the stem and going nearer and nearer to the navel of Vishnu, he could not trace out the route. It's not possible. So he went nearer and nearer to the navel of Vishnu, but he could not trace out the route. So it's just like if there is a baby inside the womb, right? And the baby is trying to research who am I? And who is my origin? Like, who is my mother? Will the baby be able to find out? Right? Ever? Unless it comes out, it won't be able to find out because it is inside the mother's womb. How much ever it may circle and try to find out, won't be able to find out. So similarly, this entire material world, it's like we are inside the energy of Krishna, right? And it is covered by 7 layers, covered by false ego. There's a layer called mind. There's a layer called intelligence. All these layers are there. And it's not possible with our mind and intelligence to think beyond what is there. Only Krishna has to reveal. God has to reveal what it is. Only then we can understand. Right? There is no religion or no religious textbook that gives this kind of blow-by-blow detail, technical detail of how the universe got created. Tamasya pare viduratma sargam vichinvato bhut sumaham strinemihi jo deha bhajam bhayam irayanaha parikshinotyayurajasya hetihi Oh Vidura, while searching in that way about his existence, Brahma is his ultimate time, which is the eternal wheel in the hand of Vishnu, which generates fear in the mind of the living entity like the fear of death. So Brahma reached to Sudarshana Chakra, right? Sudarshan Chakra, that is the ultimate time. The wheel of time is rotating, right? The time, all the 4 yugas are rotating. It's like a wheel that's going, right? So that he reached that wheel. Then what happened? Tato nivritto apritalabdha kamaha swadishnayam asadya punasadevaha shanairjita shvasa nivritta chitto nyasidadarudha samadhi yogaha. Thereafter, being unable to achieve the desired destination, he retired from searching and came back again to the top of the lotus. Thus, controlling objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. So, what happened? He tried his best to find out himself about God, but he could not find out. This is a lesson for all of us. Lord Brahma, first living entity, is not able to find out about the Supreme Personality of God. Then what to talk about insignificant living entities like us who are in complete illusion and delusion? It's not possible, right? And that's not the process also. Kale na soja purusha yushabhi pravritta yoge na virudha bodha swayam tadantar hridayeva bhatam apashyata yanna purvam. At the end of Brahma's 100 years, when his meditation was complete, he developed the required knowledge, and as a result, he could see his heart in the Supreme within himself, whom he could not see before with greatest endeavor. So it's not possible to see God without qualifications, right? Brahma has done austerities for 100 years. That's a lot of time, right? That is Divya Yugas, right? So 1 day of Brahma is only 4.3 million years, right? 4.3 million years multiplied by 1000, that is 1 day of Brahma. So it's like such a big number, right? So one has to wait for the mercy of the Lord. Mrunala gaurya gaura yatashesha bhoga paryanka ekam purusham shayanam Phanata patra yutamudhanatna dyubhir hatadvanta yuganta toye. Brahma could see that on the water there was a gigantic lotus-like white bedstead, the body of the Sheshanaga, on which the personality of Godhead was lying alone. The whole atmosphere was illuminated by the rays of the jewels bedecked by the hood of Sheshanaga, and that illumination dissipated all the darkness of those regions. See, such a beautiful thing. Brahma is now having the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And through Brahma, through Bhagavatam, we are having the darshan of the Supreme Lord, right? So, Lord is sleeping on the body of Sheshanaga. He was lying alone, right? And the whole atmosphere was illuminated by the rays of the jewels which were on the hood of the Sheshanaga. Preksham chipantam harito paladre sandhya braniver ururukva murdnaha ratnodadara aushadi saumanasya vanasrajo venu bhujangri pangre. The luster of the transcendental body of the Lord mocked the beauty of the coral mountain. The coral mountain is very beautifully dressed by the evening sky, but the yellow dress of the Lord mocked its beauty. There is gold on the summit of the mountain, but Lord's helmet bedecked with jewels mocked it. The mountains, waterfalls, herbs, etc. with a panorama of flowers seem like garlands, but Lord's gigantic body and his hands and legs decorated with jewels, pearls, tulsi leaves and flower garlands mocked the scene on the mountain. So this is such a beautiful scene, seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a beautiful description also given. Lord has a gigantic body, right? Bedecked with so many jewels and pearls and tulsi leaves and flower garlands. Since we cannot see the Lord with our naked eyes, Supreme Lord has kindly agreed to come in the form of his deity. That is why when we go to a temple, when we see Lord Narayana sleeping on Anantashesha, it is as good as the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Because Lord has agreed to show himself to us in a form that we can see. Ayamato vestarata swamana dehena lokatraya sangrahena vichitra divya varanam shukanam krita shriyapa shrita vesha deham. His transcendental body, unlimited in length and breadth, occupied the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. His body was self-illuminated by the unparalleled dress and variegatedness and was properly ornamented. Right? He's a transcendental body. And what is his size? Occupying three planetary systems. Right? Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, this is. What Vishnu, what you're seeing now is Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu. That is the form of Vishnu who is there within the Brahmanda. Right? And he is looking self-illuminated, right? The light is coming from himself. Pumsam svakamaya vivikta margai abhyarchatam kamadugangri padmam pradarshayantam kripaya nakhendu mayuka bhinnangulicharu patram. The Lord showed his lotus feet by raising them. His lotus feet are the source of all awards achieved by the devotional service, free from the material contamination. Such awards are thus for those who worship him in the pure devotion. The splendor of the transcendental rays from his moon-like toenails and fingernails appeared like the petals of a flower. So it's so beautiful. Lord was sleeping and he raised his both lotus feet. And he showed his feet, so that, we can see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God, right? So his feet, lotus feet, are not ordinary. They are the source of all awards achieved by devotional service, right? And it is available only for those people who worship him in pure devotion, right? The lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can be seen only by the pure devotees. That lotus feet is raising them and showing to Lord Brahma. And his toenails are looking like moons. Fingernails are appearing like petals of a flower. They're so delicate and so beautiful. Right? Mukhena lokarti harasmitena parispurat kundala manditena shonaitendara bimba bhasa pratyarayantam sunasena shubhrava. He also acknowledged the service of the devotees and vanquished their distress by his beautiful smile. The reflection of his face, decorated with earrings, was so pleasing because it dazzled with the rays from his lips and beauty of his nose and eyebrows. He was looking so beautiful, and his face was beautifully decorated with all these earrings, right? And his helmet, right? Very beautiful verse coming up now. Kadamba kinjal kapishanga vasasa swalankritam me kalaya nitambe harena chananta dhanena vatsa srivatsa vaksha sthala vallabhena. Haribol, very nice. Oh my dear Vidura, the Lord's waist was covered with yellow cloth resembling the saffron dust of the kadamba flower, and it was encircled by a well-decorated belt. His chest was decorated with Srivatsa marking and a necklace of unlimited value, right? So, such a beautiful darshan is giving, right? Kadamba flower is saffron in color. It looks very beautiful. And just like how the dust of that flower is, his dress was also looking like that color. Sualankritam, very well decorated. And Mekhalaya, very nice belt he is wearing, very well decorated belt on his waist. And Hara, he's wearing a beautiful garland also, right? And his chest is decorated with Srivatsa. there is a small one hair on his chest that looks very beautiful, that distinguishes the Lord from all the other 400 forms that are there in the Vaikuntha. There's so many devotees are there. They are also having 400 form. But the difference between the Lord and them is that he has Srivatsa mark. The others do not have. Paratyakeyura pravēkā paryastadorandadaha sahasra shākham avyaktamulam bhuvanangripendram mahindra bhogair adivi tavalsham. As the sandalwood tree is decorated with fragrant flowers and branches, the Lord's body was decorated with valuable jewels and pearls. He was the self-situated tree, the Lord of all others in the universe. And as a sandalwood tree is covered with many snakes, the Lord's body was also covered with the hoods of Ananta. So sandalwood is covered with so many snakes, just like Lord's body is also having so many snakes. That is Ananta Deva, right? Ananta Shesha, upon whom he is resting, just like a bed he is resting. Chara charauko bhagavan mahidram mahindra bandhum shalilo pagodham kirita sahasra hiranya shringam avir bhavat kaustuva ratna garbham. Like a great mountain, the Lord stands as the abode of all the moving and non-living entities. He is the non-moving living entities. He is the friend of the snakes because Lord Ananta is his friend. As a mountain has thousands of golden peaks, so the Lord was also seen with thousands of golden helmet hoods of Anantanaga. And as a mountain is sometimes filled with jewels, he also in his transcendental body was decorated with valuable jewels. And as mountains is sometimes submerged in the ocean water, so the Lord is sometimes submerged in the water of devastation. So I think the Supreme Personality of Godhead is standing in the standing pose, most likely, in standing pose, and he's looking like a mountain, so tall. And on top of him, there is Ananta Shesha. So many hooded snake heads are there, hoods. And each of the snake hood of that Ananta is having golden helmet also. Because Ananta is no less. He is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the mood of service to this Lord Vishnu or Narayana. Nivitamamnyaya madhuvrata shriya swakirti maya vanamalya harim Suryenduvaya vyagnagamam tridhamabhi parikramat pradhanikair durasadam. Lord Brahma, looking at the Lord in the shape of a mountain, concluded that this was Hari, the personality of Godhead. He saw the garland of flowers on his chest, glorified him with Vedic wisdom in sweet songs and looked very beautiful. He was protected by the Sudarshana wheel for fighting, and even the sun, moon, air, fire could not have access to him. So nobody could see the Lord. Even the sun, moon, air also cannot have access to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tahyeva tanna visarat sarojam atmanamamba shvasanam viyacha dadarsha devo jagato vidhata nata param loka visarga drishti. When Lord Brahma, the maker of the universal destination, thus saw the Lord, he simultaneously glanced over the creation. Brahma saw the lake in the Lord Vishnu's navel and the lotus flower as well as the devastating water, the drying air and the sky, all became visible to him. So what did the Lord do? Lord glanced at the creation, right? He simply, the universal creation is happening, starting now, right? Simply the Lord glanced, right? Sa ikshate. In the Vedas also it is said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead glanced at the material nature. And the material nature started to work. Sakarma bijam rajasoparakta praja sisrikshan yadeva drishtva astaud visarga vimukastamidhyam tavyaktavatmanya bhiveshitatma. Lord Brahma, thus being surcharged with the mode of passion, became inclined to create. And after seeing the 5 causes of creation indicated by the personality of Godhead, he began to offer his respectful prayers on the path of creative mentality. So, we have seen what has happened so far. Lord Brahma is surcharged with a mode of passion. If you want to create something, you must be in mode of passion. If you want to maintain something, you must be in the mode of goodness. If you want to destroy something, you must be in the mode of ignorance. Brahma is in the mode of passion, right? Creativity, we say, right? Creativity. He's like the grandfather of creativity. He has created the entire universe, right? And we will also see in the coming chapters, how Brahma will pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Lord will speak to him. So all these beautiful things are actually coming up next. So this is very, very wonderful chapters coming up next. Lord Brahma is seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he will do wonderful, 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 wonderful prayers now. After doing all these wonderful prayers, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to talk to him, right? And he's going to give him instructions, right? This is the personal instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's such a wonderful conversation. So this is a part of the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. So Parikshit Maharaj is listening from Shukadeva Goswami. The sages of the Naimisharanya are hearing from Suta Goswami. And Vidura is hearing from Maitreya. So this is called Shruti Parampara, hearing. So the most important thing that we should do is only hearing. That's why Krishna says, Yatha Jnasasi Tat Shruno in Bhagavad Gita. He says, therefore listen. Simply by listening, Shravanam, we can go back to Godhead. It is so easy, this process is. That is Krishna consciousness, right? So, we will stop here. Hare Krishna. Unless anybody has any questions or any remarks or any comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you very much. Dandavat
Thank you.
Pranam.
Thank
Yes.
you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. Mataji has a question here. That what is the Kaustuba money? So there is a beautiful jewel, in the blue color Kaustuba money. That is a very, very special of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that he wears here. That nobody has that unparalleled jewel except for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's called Kaustubham. Right? That only the Supreme Personality of Godhead has. And that increases the beauty of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. That's why we see some people have the name also Kaustubh. Right? So it's a very beautiful name. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining, and see you tomorrow again. Every day keep joining Srimad Bhagavatam classes. Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.